WFM 91.7.
Good afternoon and welcome to The Big Question on Women Radio 91.7. Thank you very much for tuning in to The Big Question today. And we're still continuing on this series on 16 Days of Activism. 16 Days of Activism on Violence Against Women. My name is Somto Titilayo Ajama. Thank you again for tuning in. You can contribute on the program by calling the number 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. You can also send in text messages or WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. If you'd like to listen live, you can go onto the website www.wfm917.com. You can also listen live on the app, on the mobile app, which you can download on Google Play Store, and on iOS. Thank you very much once again. And today is day 6 of the 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence. The 16 Days of Activism campaign is an annual international movement aimed at addressing issues of violence against women. And this campaign began last week, Friday, 25th November, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, and it runs until 10th November, the Human Rights Day. We are reviewing some organizations' achievements and their strategies in the prevention and elimination of violence against women and girls. My guest today is Emanuela Azu, Program Coordinator, Women Advocates Research and Documentation Center, Ward C, and we're discussing 16 Days of Activism on Violence Against Women. Hello, Emanuela. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, good morning. Good afternoon, and thank you for having me today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us. All right, we're going to go straight into conversation, and I'm glad you're here because this is a very important topic that wraps into what your organization does. So how would you rate the success of Nigeria as a country in their journey so far when it comes to combating violence against women? I'm asking this, just put a background to it before we begin. How would you rate the success of Nigeria so far with combating violence against women?
Okay, thank you very much. I think I would rate Nigeria 70%. And why would I say 70%? 70%, not because violence against women have been eradicated, but because several efforts have been put in place, and those efforts, in my opinion, and from my organizational standpoint, is actually playing out. And we can safely say today that people can stand out on social media, physically, and everywhere to talk about sexual and gender-based violence. So for me, it's a very big achievement that the women's movement, the women's group, and organizations such as mine, Women Advocates Research and Documentation Center, have actually been working on over the last 2 decades or so. So I think I would rate Nigeria very high in this regard. Thank you.
I'm really happy to hear that. Because this is not the standpoint of everyone. So you talking about it and saying this, and of course emphasizing that this is coming from your organizational standpoint as well, draws more light to what your organization does. So since we're focused on your organization's standpoint, let's talk about some of the measures that your organization would see Women Advocates Research and Documentation Center. Let's talk about some of the measures that your organization puts in place to actually support the fight against ending violence against women.
Okay, so for us at WATI has over the years actually used several strategies to ensure that sexual and gender-based violence is to a very large extent reduced and, if possible, completely eradicated. And so part of the things that we have done is WATI has put in place. WATI started out by having what we refer to as the paralegals. Mm-hmm. So the paralegals are a group of ordinary Nigerians who are not lawyers, do not have the law degree certification, but are ordinary people, lay people who have been trained on the basic knowledge of the law. And so they are able to identify violations of women's, particularly of women's rights, when they occur within their spaces, their families, their communities, their workplace, their schools, markets, wherever they are. So what he started with this, what he also had sometime in the course of this intervention, we also have what we refer to as a mobile clinic, which was something that was done in the northern part of Nigeria, where we had a mobile vehicle go from place to place, community to community, especially to those communities where women are not able to access regular spaces like offices, civil society organizations. So they had this mobile clinic at their doorsteps where complaints were taken and redress was also given as well. And so that's also metamorphosized into not just the northern part of Nigeria to other parts of Nigeria to the south. So as of today, what it has across over 42 communities, what we refer to as paralegals. These are normal people within the community who can basically read and write, but who have integrity and other core values that they must possess. And then they take up complaints and they seek redress. And when these complaints or these violations are beyond them, especially where there are cases of like sexual violation, like rape and all of that, they escalate. And they have a reporting format through which they also report and they escalate. And so one of the things we see as well, because what is not physically present in all the 36 states of Nigeria, where we also have our communities. So we have done what we call pro bono legal services, trained lawyers who have keyed into the project. And so these lawyers are also linked to the community. To also respond to these violations occur. So these paralegals are linked to the lawyers within the community. And then in recent times, was also in recent times trained, and we also have what we refer to as a community response team, CRT. So this community response is basically in southwest Nigeria. We have them, and then one of the things that's also done, like the paralegals, is also train them and build their capacities. They conduct what we refer to as community outreach. So they go within their communities talking about issues, the ills of sexual and gender-based violence. And then what he has also worked with traditional gatekeepers, particularly the office of the Iyalode, the female traditional gatekeepers, to also ensure that they are also advocates and champions of eradicating sexual and gender-based violence within their community. So I think these are part of the many things that over the years Wati has done. Also, another thing that Wati has done is that very recently under the Spotlight project, Wati engaged with sectors, what we call sectors like ministries, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Women Affairs, Youth and Sports, Information and Finance, to develop what we refer to as the Costed Action Plan. And what is that all about? To see, that's not just about, because what he has been very instrumental in ensuring the passage of the violence against persons laws in states in Nigeria, Ogun State and several other states, Bauchi State, Ondo State, and several other states in Nigeria. So for us as an organization, it's not just about having a law that seeks to prohibit or protect women from violence against them, not just women, people from violence, but ensuring that this law is also effective. And that's what that project is all about, ensuring that the relevant stakeholders, those who should take action, for instance, Ministry of Health, they have a role to play in ensuring an effective implementation of the VAP law. Ministry of Education, they have a role to play. Ministry of Justice, they have a role to play. All these ministries brought together, what he brought all these ministries together and developed what is referred to as the Costed Action Plan to bring life to the VAP law. And all of these are all geared towards ensuring that sexual and gender-based violence is reduced, eradicated, and most likely in the near future brought to a complete end. So these are part of the measures that Wati has done in recent times, over the years.
And these are measures. These are measures that have quite significant impact. And I'm allowed to say that because from your explanation so far, this just says that Wati has been active for a really long time. That's one. Two, they've been active in this field when it comes to really fighting against gender-based violence, and not just fighting against it, but really creating means within a remarkable number of states, actually. So this advocacy is really spreading around thanks to your organization. All right. Thank you very much, Emanuela. It's 15 minutes past 12. 15 minutes past 12 on Women Radio 91.7, and we're still highlighting the organization's achievements and strategies in preventing sexual and gender-based violence against women and girls. Now, this is especially important in commemoration of the 16 Days of Activism against gender-based violence. This started on Friday, 25th November, and it will run up until 10th November, and that's the Human Rights Day. Today, we're focused on Women Advocates Research and Documentation Center, Ward C. And we have Emanuela Azu. Emanuela Azu is program coordinator of the organizations, and she's talking to us about what they've done so far and the achievements and, of course, way forward with Ward C as an organization. If you'd like to contribute, the number to call is 07000 917 917. If you have questions, if you have any observations, if you have suggestions on the way forward as well, then please call in. The number to call is 07000 917 917. Send in a text or a WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. All right, back to you, Emanuela. It is no surprise, or it is not news, let me put it that way. It's not news that your organization will have encountered some challenges along the way in the line of advocacy and spreading this news or spreading this cause of eradication of violence against women. So what are some of those challenges? Very briefly now, what are some of those challenges that might have hindered your advocacy at some point, or that you might still be experiencing but are working out ways to overcome?
Okay, so yes, there's no there's no straightness without challenges, to say that. And but I would not say those challenges have in any way hindered the organization from ensuring that sexual and gender-based violence is eradicated. But one of the things that most commonly happen usually, because what as an organization, we are a legal organization, we render pro bono legal services, particularly to indigent women who are victims of sexual and gender-based violence. So most of our times, when these cases come and what is in court, trying to ensure that they get justice, like legal justice, most of these clients begin to develop cold feet and they draw back. So oftentimes this could be very discouraging, but it has not deterred us and cannot deter us. And so because we also kind of understand that also comes from the kind of socialization of the victims, and also because of the cultural and societal stigmas associated with all these forms of violence. So having that understanding, it does not deter in any way, but there are challenges. There are huge challenges because most times some of those cases, if and when litigated to the end, would not just impact positively on the individual who had suffered the violation at that time, but it could actually serve as a precedent for other cases, and it could also serve as a deterrent to other violators who will be out there. So for me, I think basically those are part of the challenges. And also, of course, because what is an organization that cannot be physically present across the 36 states in Nigeria, but we have a physical office in Lagos, we have a physical office in Abuja, we have a physical office in Ogun State, we have a physical office in also 2 other states in the north. Aside from these states where we have our physical offices, we also have at times the challenge of having to connect, because we work with private lawyers who at times are also saddled with their own private responsibilities. So there are times where there is a need for an immediate legal response for a case to be immediately instituted. And so these cases are then delayed a bit because of the fact that we are not physically present, and because we also have to rely on other lawyers who do not work directly with the organization. So I think basically those are part of the challenges we have experienced. And then, of course, we cannot rule out cultural norms that also mitigate against issues around sexual and gender-based violence. We cannot also rule out that as part of the challenges we face as an organization.
And I totally can understand that, particularly with the fact that survivors drop out because they don't want to partake in these legal proceedings because of the stigmas and all of that. But now let's talk about ways forward. So if these are some of the challenges you're experiencing, what are some of the things that your organization hopes to do going forward? And your answer to this does not have to link to the challenges you mentioned. Just in general, what is your vision for Women Advocates Research and Documentation Center would see as regards still staying in the cause of eradication of violence against women and girls? What more do you hope to do?
Continuous engagement, community outreach, and I think for me that's the way forward. And because all of this, it's continuous engagement basically until And then one of the things that WOTI is also doing is also to ensure that, because WOTI also is championing a more gender-responsive constitution for Nigeria. Until and when that is done, issues around sexual and gender-based violence may not, we may not see like a significant, we may not see that kind of significant improvement that people may want to see. The Constitution of Nigeria is very key, very instrumental to achieving, to a very great extent, eradication, reduction on issues of sexual and gender-based violence. And WOTI has over the years campaigned for more gender inclusiveness into the Constitution. Like we did, we championed the NAS protest, just to see that, to ensure that some of those indigenship and all of that are included. So one of the things that WOTI will do and will continue to do is to ensure that the Constitution of Nigeria is more gender responsive. We'll continue to have community outreach programs. We'll continue to educate and sensitize the populace, because we understand that some of these things that happen are stereotypes, social stereotypes, cultural stereotypes that actually activate all of this violence that happens within our community because of the patriarchal nature of the society we live in. So continuous sensitization and also ensuring a more comprehensive, holistic, and gender-sensitive laws, particularly constitution in Nigeria.
Most definitely. And that is very important, because if the Constitution doesn't carry gender inclusiveness, then at some point we might hit a brick wall. We might hit a brick wall backed up by the Constitution. And that would be such a blow, because it will undo a lot of work that has been done already. Now, we're not going to talk anymore about that, because that is I don't even want to imagine that happening. So we're not going to talk more about that. But what kind of influencers or stakeholders would you like to work with to promote this cause in collaboration with your organization?
So over the years, we have worked with a broad range of stakeholders. Like I said, we are currently engaging the female traditional rulers in particular. WOTI over the years have also engaged with women in parliament, and would continue to engage with women in parliament. When I mean women in parliament, I mean sitting legislators, both at the state and the federal assembly. We have engaged with them over the years, and will continue to engage with them. WOTI would also continue to engage with policymakers, then also law enforcement officers. We have also engaged law enforcement officers, and I think in the coming period we'll try also engage more with law enforcement officers, because they are also very instrumental in ensuring that justice is done, that violations of sexual and gender-based violence is eradicated. So we'll also continue to engage with them, basically policymakers, law enforcement officers, traditional gatekeepers, and other relevant stakeholders like ministries of women affairs and all of those people. And then the community themselves, in all the communities where we work, and we also want to expand to other communities where we do not have our physical presence, or even other presence otherwise. Yes, we also want to expand to other communities.
Okay. And this is particularly important. I like that you mentioned that you mentioned education and sensitization and further engagement with law enforcement officers, because this is one of the biggest issues actually with sorting out sexual and gender-based violence, because people it's schools of thought. People are of the opinion that when you get to that point where you report, do the law enforcement officers know what to do? And if they know what to do, how quickly are they with taking action? How quick are they with taking action and enforcing this action, seeing it through to the point where there's actually justice served at the end of the day? And another questionable context will be the justice system, as it were. Some people, there's a school of thought that feels that there's not speedy enough justice with cases of sexual and gender-based violence. So I appreciate the effort that you're putting into seeing that these law enforcement officers are looked into and are worked with, educated, sensitized, for more synonyms, but so that they can actually get the required knowledge that they need. So in line
So maybe I should just quickly add that part of the things we're also doing is also to ensure that we have fast-track courts, like we have in Lagos State. You know, Lagos State has a fast-track court where they dedicate, where they attend to just issues of sexual and gender-based violence. WOTI is also working in some other states to ensure that, in line with the VAP laws of those states, that fast fast-tracked courts are also established so as to ensure justice. It's not just about the law enforcement officers referring these cases to court. So that these cases do not continue to go on adjournment and adjournment and adjournment. Once there's a fast-tracked court, these cases, there will be speedy dispensation of cases, and that will bring about more justice and will give the people confidence to be able to embrace the system, just to mention as
Definitely. That's very much needed, given the point I just spoke about the school of thought that thinks that the system is slow. But we got a message just now that says, good morning to everyone. I'm 100% against violence against women. And Emanuela, I would love for you to respond to this. I'm 100% against violence against women, but please consider the cause, because it's not all wayward mothers who dress that have named and also taught their children to do the same. And it's not all men that can control themselves. Before you answer, I want to believe that you're not trying to excuse violence against women and girls by way of their dressing. I'm just going to say that one line, and I'll allow Emanuela to go on with that. Please, what are your thoughts concerning that one message? Because I have a vast array of thoughts in my head, but I'm going to let you take up that one.
Well, to be honest, I like you said, I really want to believe that question is not directed at approving or allowing violence against women under certain circumstances, because for us, it is zero tolerance to all forms of violence, to all forms of sexual and gender-based violence. It's completely zero tolerance. It's not allowed. It's not to be condoned, irrespective, because it's very barbaric. It's not civil, because there are different ways that you can actually address someone or something. And who is to say that the fact that I dressed in a certain way, that I'm actually calling for violence? And who are you to say that I must dress in a particular way? Of course, there's right and everybody has a right, and yes, we should, in as much as everybody has a right, I also know that yes, we should also not offend the sensibility of another person. Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree that. But then, violence is in any way justifiable. Violence is not in any way the answer and can never be the immediate response to any form of, I can't even imagine, I don't even know what to say to it. But can we, for a very brief moment, flip the scenario? A man who goes, because I really do not understand where people always think that the woman is the only one who can seduce a man. What happens to the men who go about bare-chested, without buttoning up, shorts, and then they sag their trousers and all of that? What is it not possible that those forms of dressing could actually also be seductive to certain women? And what if those women go about raping the men? Let's flip it. Is it acceptable? It's not. So in whatever circumstances, there is no form of provocation, quotes, or seduction, quotes, in your own thoughts that is acceptable. And so for me, it's zero tolerance, it's not acceptable, and there should be no justification for it in any way.
Thank you very much. That was very adequately represented. I completely approve of that response. Thank you very much, Emanuela. All right, we will be wrapping up in a moment. At the moment, it's 29 minutes past 12, and we're still speaking on the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. This is in commemoration of the 16 days of activism, and it's an annual campaign aimed at addressing issues of violence against women and girls. We're interested in this because there are lots of rising cases of violence against women and girls. And even if there are no rising cases, it's important to maintain the cause of advocacy to make sure that this is not something that continues or increases as time goes on. My guest today is Emanuela Azu, Program Coordinator, Women Advocates Research and Documentation Center, also known as Ward C. So I'm going to ask you this with specification to your organization. What would your call to action be for on behalf of your organization, and what commitment would you be making going forward? Hello, can you hear me?
Commitment, my call to action would be that we should all stand together to ensure that all forms of violence is eradicated in our families, in our schools, in our workplace, and in the community at large. So at this point, I'll be calling on particularly the government of Nigeria, the government of the various states of Nigeria, to not just to put in place gender-responsive laws, but to put in place mechanisms that will ensure the effective implementation of these policies, of these laws within Nigeria. And as an organization, we will continue to work to ensure that all forms of violence against women and girls, persons with disability, are eradicated. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emanuela. Thank you very much. It's been an interesting conversation today, and I wish you all the best with all your endeavors with WADC. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Now, raising awareness is important. Raising awareness is important. And it is so key to understand that spreading the clear message of zero tolerance of all forms of violence against women and girls and people with disabilities, just as Emanuela has said, is the goal. That's the goal. Spreading the clear message of zero tolerance is the goal. It's also important to inform victims of their rights and the support services available to them through organizations like WADC. These organizations are well placed to develop grassroots initiatives to prevent violence against women and girls and to support victims. So if you notice any form of abuse against women in your community, make sure you report it. Let us unite and be deliberate in eliminating violence against women and girls. Thank you very much to my guest today, Emanuela Azu. And of course, she's a program coordinator, Women Advocate Research and Documentation Center. And of course, to my producer, Elizabeth Akwiribe. Thank you very much to you for tuning in, for sending messages, for engaging the program. Remember to continue conversations like this to make sure that the cause at the end of the day is achieved in eradicating violence against women and girls. Thank you very much. My name is Somto Titilayo Ajama. Good afternoon.
To sponsor this program, call the number 0816 480 7613. To sponsor this program, call the number 0816 480 7613.
2023 general election don't come o. Time don't come to move Nigeria forward with our vote. Make we join hands together and vote for better candidates. Candidates wey no dey use women play. Candidates wey carry woman matter for head. Women o, make una get una permanent voters card, PVC. Make we vote better.
Now, Voice of Women Empowerment Foundation and Women Radio 91.7 bring una this message.
Radio Doctor, your free phone-in health consultation program. Every Thursday brings you medical experts in elderly health.
The elderly, they are peculiar. Okay. Their body system is actually changing. They are becoming like a newborn baby in the sense that their immunity wanes and dwindles. So when it's cold, especially in the mornings, in those areas that it's really cold, I'll advise that they use warm water. Call in to get free consultation on elderly health on 07000 917 917 and 090 256 25455. You can send in questions, cases, and related contributions on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at WFM917. Text and WhatsApp to 0703 175 6537. You can listen live online on www.wfm917.com. Radio Doctor, Nigeria's first free consultation radio health program on WFM 91.7.
Are you a woman who is keen on breaking the bias? Are you looking for a welcoming community with a strong support system that empowers the female gender? Do you need a safe space that is candid, original, and authentic like the queen you are? Then this is the program for you. Tune in to Real Women Real Talk with Kiki Okewale on Women Radio 91.7 FM every Friday by 5 p.m. As Kiki Okewale brings on different leading women who will give you a bite into their growth journey and how they beat all odds to become who they are today. Real Women Real Talk.
A time for change, to unmask the truth, to unmask the rot in our communities. Unmasking the truth will focus on the effects of corruption on women, prefer solution and demand for accountability. Unmasking the Truth will be on this radio station
Every first Monday by 5:30 p.m.
and we ask you to join us to condemn corruption, to demand for accountability, and to work together for a better Nigeria. Unmasking the Truth is an initiative of St. Ives Communications in partnership with Voice of Women and supported by the MacArthur Foundation.
The name says it all.
Women Radio 91.7.
So we're taking a quick detour into this particular part of the program, this segment, and we're discussing, we're highlighting a particular organization, and we're focusing on what they do and how the organization is run. I'm speaking today with Mustafa Yusuf, music director of Bethesda Home for the Blind, and Abimbola Ogungbe, student of the home, also in her third year in university, and Immaculate Ehechi, a student of the Bethesda Home for the Blind as well. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us.
Hello. Hi, Lagos. Hi, Nigeria.
Hello,
Hi.
Mustafa. Is Abimbola there?
Yeah, she's there. Good afternoon.
Hello, Abimbola. Good afternoon. Is Immaculate there?
Good afternoon, Nigerians. Good afternoon, Lagosians.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Nigeria. Good afternoon, WFM.
Thank you very much. All right, so we're going to quickly just discuss about the home and, of course, discuss some of the programs that you have lined up. So let's start with you, Mustafa. And before we go on, I would like to just a quick rundown of what the disability journey has been like. Now, a lot of people say we should not say disabled, we should say differently abled. And there's a lot of conversation about those two terms. And there's a lot of conversation about people in the disability community and how to approach them. So how would you say the journey has been so far?
I think that the journey, just like everybody in life, has been rough and tough, but like the saying goes, tough time don't last, but tough people do. So people, in fact the world, nature naturally does not want to hear your story of how you lost and how you did not make it. Everybody just wants to hear the story of how you made it. And so as a disabled person, you must have that in mind, that nobody even wants to hear of how you didn't make it. Disability for me is not an excuse, especially in this era of technology and advancement. It has been rough, like I said from the beginning, but it has also been encouraging, because when you have people around you who understand your plight and who know what you should be achieving in life, and they keep encouraging you. Encouraging you does not mean that no matter what you do, as a disabled person, you say, leave him, after all he's blind, or leave him, after all he's deaf, leave him, after all he's crippled. Encouraging you also means that when you are doing the wrong thing, like I used to say to people when they bring up some kind of behavior, I used to say, it's only my eyes that is not there. The brain is still functioning.
All right. Thank you so much.
When I do something that is wrong, you should be able to tell me.
Thank you. Let me speak to Abimbola and ask her the same question. How has the journey been for you?
Well, it hasn't been easy, as Mustafa has rightly said, but we bless God. God being at our side, and with wonderful individuals around the world, all over the world, and most especially to the founder of the home, Reverend Dr. Evelyn, Mrs. Choma Owakoye. She has been the backbone. She has been our backbone. And I don't know if you know that I'm a student of University of Ibadan, currently in my third year, studying guidance and counseling. So these are all the doings of the Almighty God. It hasn't been easy. And there's a saying that says, before God becomes good, that's passed through fire. So that's what I believe. So it's not like an excuse, as my brother said, for being blind, right? Or not not making it. Rather, it's not you being lazy about it or all of that, but it's about determination and encouragement.
Absolutely.
So
thank you so much, Abimbola. Immaculate, what do you think? How's the journey been for you particularly?
Okay. Being a blind person has not been easy, because as a blind person, you have to work very hard to achieve your greatness. People will talk about it. People will say a lot that, what can this blind girl do? What can this girl do about her life? But you have to be serious. You have to be determined and prove them wrong. That yes, being a blind person does not mean that you're a burden to anybody. You can do things on your own without the help of the sighted. You can operate your phones and laptop without the help of a sighted person. So you can do things as someone that is disabled. So you just need encouragement and other things. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Now, I'm coming back to you, Mustafa. What are your thoughts on how well the government is doing? Would you say the government is doing enough to support disabled people, the disability community in general?
Yes, like I said when I started, I said that encouraging somebody that is disabled is not when you see the person going wrong way, you try to get the person, or because the person is disabled. I would say that Lagos state government are trying their own possible best, but it has to not be just Lagos state government. It has to be the whole country. Especially in the area of employment. A blind person reads twice as much as a sighted person. Then the person graduates, and at the end of the day, no job for the blind person. Okay, so for example, we have a first-class student from the University of Nigeria in Nsukka in our home right now. And the person he's the best in his faculty and department. He can't even get a lecturer work set. Not to talk of, So all those things makes people like us sad. So it makes us, feel like we are left out. Sometimes we even discuss in the midst of ourselves that even as a blind person, if you go to an interview with a sighted person, even if you are better than that sighted person, they will still pick that certain person above you, simply because the person can see and you cannot.
So definitely the government needs to put in more effort.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you so much. So, do you have anything to add to that, Abimbola and Immaculate? Let me start with you, Abimbola. Do you have anything to quickly add to that?
No, he said it all. He said it all already.
All right.
Just we need more of you. We need, as Oliver Twist asks for more, not just the government, the whole country. We need more of you guys to come around, encourage us, put smile on our faces. Even in WFM, I can decide to submit my CV at WFM, and I'll be very, very happy or glad if you guys can employ me. You see me doing wonders beyond your imaginations or expectations.
Absolutely. How about you, Immaculate?
Okay, Abimbola and Mustafa have said everything. So we just need more of the government and the private individual to come to our aid, to help us in any way they can in the aspect of employment, that they should come to our aid. Feeding, shelter, everything. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. So are there any programs coming up in the home?
In Bethesda Home, we do a program every year that is called Blind Festival. In 2019, we had strictly music competition. After COVID, in 2021, we had sports. And after the sports competition, our Go-Ball team in Bethesda went to represent Africa in the African Go-Ball Championship that held in Ghana. By the grace of God, this year we are having different varieties of competition for blind people in Nigeria. Currently now the auditions of different competitions are going on because it's always a 1-week program. So, but the grand finale is on Saturday, which is the 3rd of December.
Okay.
And that 3rd of December is actually World Disability Day. It's a double celebration because we are going to be showing our talent from the audition that have been done throughout the week, and also one of us is also getting married.
Yeah.
That is such beautiful news. That is such amazing news. Congratulations.
Yes, the man is blind, but the lady in question is able-bodied.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Gorgeous, beautiful lady. In fact, many people don't even believe that a blind man, as a man, many ladies don't believe you can take care of them. Many men don't believe that as a blind lady, you can cook for them. So, which is actually, fallacy. As a blind person, all you just need to do is be aware of your environment and take charge of your life.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that program. And of course, thank you for sharing the good news as well. It is important to note that whatever the case is, we shouldn't, and this is something that the society does a lot, which is what Mustafa, Immaculate, and Abimbola are talking about the fact that they are usually sidelined because of their disability. And this is something that should stop because truthfully, they are very able and can also get the job done. So, still in line with that, but Bethesda Home is owned or led by a woman. What do you think was her inspiration, or is her inspiration for continuing to run this beautiful home for the blind? Abimbola, I'll let you take that one.
Okay, she says she didn't get your question.
I didn't get your question.
Oh, okay, not a problem. Bethesda Home is owned by a woman.
A woman.
Yes. So what do you think is her inspiration for keeping this home open for people to have a home, for people to feel included, for people to feel loved, and as you said, put a smile on their faces?
I think you already answered the question yourself. It is being led by a woman, not just a woman of integrity, a woman of
man-woman.
Okay. So Mustafa just said something like a man-woman, which means she's not just a woman, also a man, because it's not everybody that has it in mind to go out of their own beautiful comfort to make sure he or she puts smile on people's faces, right? Do you agree with me?
Absolutely.
Exactly. So for the fact that she took it upon herself to make sure she's putting smile on youths and children in the society, that's like the blind ones in the society.
Yes.
So it's really, I don't know if it can be was a challenge for the men outside there, because for crying out loud, she's not blind, she's sighted, right? But it's like a challenge to the men outside there. I don't think they are doing up to what she's doing. She's doing like over times 100 of what those men outside there can do. So she's also like, she's my mentor. You can say that she's my mentor. She is also my inspiration.
That's
so
beautiful.
So that's it.
Absolutely.
Let me just speak about this topic. One of
Mustafa, before you continue, let me hear from Immaculate on this one.
Okay. The woman is my mentor, my inspiration. Like, I don't even know what to say because she's doing a lot. She's trying.
Definitely.
Because it's not easy. Taking care of blind people, it's not an easy task already. So we just need the women to come out. They should stand up and they should take care. They should have a home and take care of some people because I know it's not easy, but with God, all things are possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Mustafa, you quickly wanted to add something.
So I wanted to quickly react. One of our inspiration is the fact that blind people from where she came from are brothers, and she had two brothers that were blind. And those two brothers were her seniors. And she looked at them and she was like, these people must not go untended to. They must not, go through life in a bad manner, in a way that, people will start pitying them, or they will not have a family, or they will not have some, there will be a time in life, whether you are blind, whether you are able-bodied, once you can provide for yourself, or people can't get anything from you, people will not want to come close to you. So in order to avert that, for those our brothers, she decided to start it small. And according to her, she used to see it in the dream, when people are wearing black people are wearing blue and white and singing Amazing Grace. And at a point, she knew that this was the calling for her. In fact, at a point, she went to do business in China. The business crashed because this was what God called her for.
To do. So, that's a beautiful story.
Our inspiration is basically God.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. And finally, how can the home be contacted? How can Bethesda Home for the Blind be contacted in case of sponsorship by any private individual or by an organization?
So, especially now that we're having program, we have students from all over Nigeria, from Oyo, from Enugu, from all part of Nigeria. So anybody that wants to contact us can call 080-3351-6572. 080-3351-6572.
All right.
And also the address is number
3139 Agemoto Road, Moshalashi, Lagos, Surulere. We are inviting everybody on the 3rd. Please come with your dancing shoes.
I would like to see you.
Come with your dancing shoes and come and celebrate our wedding with us. Our fine brother.
Thank you so much. Three of you are such a light. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And I'm very privileged to have this conversation with you. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
All right. So if you do want to contact the Bethesda Home for the Blind, if you want to contact them, the number is the easiest way to do that, and that's 0803-351-6572, 0803-351-6572. And that's it on this segment. And I do have to say that, as they have all said, Mustafa, Abimbola and Immaculate, it is important to note that you cannot just continue to put disabled people on the sidelines. These people are capable, they're able, just like you and I, and they need to be included. Thank you very much for tuning in again. I'm Somto Titilayo Ajama. Good afternoon.